So at last, Joker Folie or Deux has come out, directed by Todd Phillips, and here is my official spoiler review. So we're going to get into it. Straight off the bat, guys, look at this makeup. Absolute crystal, magnificent. I cannot breathe. I feel like I'm suffocating. But we're going to dive straight into this movie. I know the controversy behind it is incredible right now, but I'm going to tell you straight off the back, I enjoyed this film. To start off the plot, the film opens up with a Looney Tunes style little short, which is based on the movie that they made about the Joker in this universe called The Shadow and Me, which kind of follows the Joker and his shadow almost being two different personalities, which is kind of what they try to portray Arthur Fleck as in this movie, that he had two different personalities, Arthur Fleck and the Joker. We see Joker in his cell, not doing too good. He's not laughing anymore. He's kind of quiet, down on the down low. He eventually walks past one of the singing choirs and he sees Lee, who is Harley Quinn in this universe, and he kind of then resonates and get almost his love back for the Joker. So essentially, Arthur Fleck has a lawyer who is trying to defend him as to say that he had two personalities. The Joker being the crazed one who killed Murray and the other guys, and Arthur Fleck, who was just this really sick, mentally ill person. And that's why he created this Joker persona, to kind of keep himself protected in a way. Arthur gets to go in the choir board, and this is when him and Lee have their first interaction. She kind of praises Joker and her love for him and what he has accomplished, and he is in awe about this. So eventually, he gets his Joker persona back, starts singing. This is a musical, guys. To an extent, it is a musical, yes. Like, we do get song in this, we do get music, but for me, honestly, I think it plays so damn well in this film. The fact that Arthur is so sick in the head that he uses Joker as almost his flip, his persona, and the music to balance it out. I think it's amazing. I think it works really well. You see that Joker and Lee have a movie night together, and Lee causes a bit of an explosion, and Arthur and Lee have a little musical as they are running around trying to almost break out. It's such a cool scene. Eventually, Arthur getting dragged away, laughing his ass off, as always, maniacal as possible, getting thrown into a cell. Lee then eventually sneaks into Joker's cell, and they have a little funky time. She's like, I need Jokey, I'm being out, I'm free now, I'm leaving. They're sending me home because you're not good for me. Joker's like, what? I need you. Now, before his trial, he gets interviewed, and this is Arthur's chance to say that he is not the Joker, he is Arthur, he was sick, and that this Joker is a different personality on him. But instead, in a way, he goes in the opposite way, saying he's found someone who loves him for him as the Joker, and he goes into a bit of song. And this was probably one of the best songs in the movie that I thought that Joaquin Phoenix actually sang. I thought it was magical. Eventually, we go to trial where we see Arthur Fleck and his lawyer trying to defend him for his sickness, where a couple of familiar people from the first movie are interviewed, such as his neighbor and therapist. Now, eventually, Arthur just has enough. He's sick of hearing all these witnesses talk so much smack about him, how sick he was, the fact that his mother even told the neighbor how sick he was, and he snaps. He goes, nah, I'm done. Fires his lawyer and says he's representing himself as the Jokey. Throughout that trial, that he keeps kind of going back to that Joker persona in his head and imagination, where him and Lee are singing. Although it is pointless, I will give it that. It is pointless to have these. It kind of shows that going in his head to that Joker persona is his protection, and the music is kind of calming in a way to Arthur, which I think worked good. I've always said it from the get-go that I think the Joker as a musical was good. Yeah, they didn't full musicalize it, but in a way, I think what they done, to an extent, it works well. Now, eventually, Joker puts his makeup on and he interviews Gary, the little small midget from the first movie, who he lets free. And he is so crazy in this scene. I actually think this is, out of everything we've seen, his best performance as the Joker. The way he's mocking Gary about his accent and his shortness and the stuff like that. And even his last name is like, Puddles, are you Puddles? I thought that worked really good. And we keep seeing the fans in the back of the courthouse are loving this Joker. They love Joker. They know he's a symbol. They know he's a monarch for monarch. And we see Lee is loving it more than ever. Now, while he's in court, Joker also outs his guards, saying that they're fat and they're stinky, and not stinky, but you know, they're fat. Then eventually, when he gets back to Arkham Asylum, he's got fans in the prison where they respect him, they love him, they love this Joker persona that he's doing. We see that We see that a lot of the inmates actually stand up for Arthur, getting themselves thrown into solitary confinement. Now we see that the guards are really pissed off from this statement that Joker made, and they eventually beat him a little bit, and then they imply that they also did a little bit of funkies to the Joker without his will, if you may call it. And we see that he's so distraught in his cell. It's almost like his final straw. He's like, fuck, maybe I'm not the Jokey. We also hear that one of the inmates that protected Arthur and stood up for him is killed by one of the guards, and this also pushes him over the edge. Now, the next day at trial, we see that Joker is there once again trying to represent himself, but this time he turns to the jury. I'm not the Joker, I'm just sick. Like, he eventually confesses for everything he's done. He admits that he was wrong, and the rest, people are unhappy about that. His fans leave. Lee leaves. Eventually, Joker's like, nah, this is not good. He rings Lee, gives her one final song. We see that Lee now has actually cut her hair. She's got the makeup on. She's starting to become more crazed in a way. Just as it looks like Joker is getting that death penalty, an explosion goes off in the courtroom, releasing a massive hole, freedom for Jokey. Joker eventually is saved by some of his fans dressed up as the Joker, and they try to get him out of the city as quick as possible. Eventually, though, he jumps out the car. He's like, nah. Goes to the iconic stairs where we see him and Lee have one final interaction where she's like, I didn't love you. I loved the Joker. She loved the Joker persona, not the Arthur Fleck. And Arthur's like, nah. Now, and then they did something really clever here. Lee starts to sing and Joker's like, nah, shut up. Like, I don't want to hear anymore. Talk to me. Have a normal conversation. So we kind of see that this music was all in the Joker's head, all in the figment of his imagination, his fantasy world, as if you want to call it, and he breaks out of that fantasy. It's just Arthur Fleck. He's crazy. He needs help. Eventually, the cops get him and they throw him back into the prison. And unfortunately, the film ends with some inmate running up to Joker saying, hey, can I tell you a joke? And he's like, yeah, okay. I'm not quoting it, but he says something like, what do you do if a clown walks into a bar or something? And he goes, you get what you deserve. Thus stabbing Arthur several times, sending him to the ground. We get one final breath of Arthur, while in the corner, the inmate that just stabbed Arthur, our Joker, carves a little smile into his face with the knife, thus giving us the real Joker. I did not want that to be the ending. I did not want that to be anything that was ever read online. I knew the theories were out there about it, and I did not want this to be a thing. But it does not mean that this movie was still not good. Now, acting, Joaquin Phoenix as Jokey Arthur Fleck, absolute another Oscar-worthy performance in my eyes. I think he played an exceptional role into the singing as well. He had his moments to shine. There was one song that I cannot get out of my head when he's talking about, like, for once in my life. Like, that was amazing. I think his craziness was upped in this film. Like, when he's laughing and crying in the rain, or when he's getting dragged. I don't know. I've always liked Joaquin Phoenix, and I think he plays a really good Joker. He is my favorite Joker. I know a lot of you are going to be like, what the fuck? What about Heath Ledger? Yeah, I get it. But something about Joaquin Phoenix just really tickles my fiddles. And then Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, who's just Lee in this film. Very underperformed though, unfortunately. I would have loved to seen her doing more than just singing. I wanted a little bit more Harley Quinn craziness. And I know that there are deleted scenes of her, being Harley Quinn a bit more, but no, they weren't in the film. So we did get a lot of scenes with Lady Gaga that were cut out, but that does not mean she did not have an amazing performance. She still kicked ass with her vocals, with her singing. We have Harry Lorty, who plays Harvey Dent. He was the lawyer who was trying to get Joker sent to death penalty. And we do see in the explosion a little bit of his face gets blown up, but we don't get a real Harvey Dent story. Now, pacing of the film, now as much as I want to say it was good, there were times where I think it was taken away from the music aspects, or just something that dragged on. Like that court scene, it definitely dragged a bit too much. The fact that they could have easily made it so much shorter and had so much more context if they maybe cut a couple things out and just gave us the Joker representing himself, I think it would have worked 10 times better. But we work with what we got here, and the pacing, unfortunately, was a letdown. Although I, for one, loved the music aspect in it, and every time there was music, I was envisioning that fantasy. I was feeling that Joker almost inside of me. So now the big question, all in all, what did I think of Joker Folie Deux? I know a lot of people are saying it's shit, it's terrible. I just saw that people have gone as far as to call it the worst comic book movie ever. I personally don't think that is the case at all here. I think we do have a beautiful story here. I think the music aspects worked really well here. The cinematography, fantastic. We get to see Arthur Fleck be crazy again. Isn't that what we wanted? We wanted to see the Joker, and we got the Joker up until that last 10 minutes. Yeah, if they just made the ending better, I'm telling you, people would be loving this film. But the fact that this isn't our Joker, the fact that they killed off Arthur Fleck, Joker, whatever, and that he was just a symbol, I get it. I do get why people hate this film, but putting that ending aside, I still think this film had its moments, and for that, I enjoyed it. I thought it was an amazing time in the cinemas. In fact, I'm gonna go see it again, just for the music aspects, just to see Joaquin Phoenix have a little singy song. It is entertaining. It is entertaining. That's entertainment. That's what we'll say. So, for Joker Folie Deux, my final score is going to be a 7 out of 10. After a long, hard thought on what I really wanted to give this film, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I am disappointed, like the rest of you, but just not to the extent of it's a shit film, I hate it. I still think it has fantastic aspects. Yes, honestly, if they changed that ending in any other way, even if they made it that when he did break out, him and Lee ran away or something, that would have been better than what we got. So unfortunately, lost points there. But I still had a good time in the cinemas. I think this film, eventually, people will see that it's actually trying to do something different here. It's trying to do something unique. Todd Phillips was trying to make this sequel in a way not so obvious. Like, I mean, yeah, the obvious sequel for a Joker would be for him to come out of prison and him and Harley Quinn to go and cause chaos. But in fact, we get a court case, we get trials, we get inside of Arthur's mind a lot more. We get to see it, and I think it was really clever in a way, and I think the musical aspects really worked. Like, you know, considering Joker in the comics, he likes to sing. In the games, we always see him singing and dancing. That just is a crazy person, just randomly singing in his head, randomly singing out in public. It's crazy, and that's what they done here. So I'll give it to you, Todd Phillips. I know people are shitting on you right now, but I'll give you respect for trying something different, trying to make this a unique story. So that's all I've got. I know this is my opinion, guys, so don't come hating in the comments, because you know what? It's my opinion, so just eat it. But that's going to be all. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you guys like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you never miss a thing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Ciao.